Knowing ourselves and who we are is central to our ability to thrive as individuals. But why? Why is it so important for us to be aware of who we are? It's because our identity, the way we act, and the views we hold influence the experience we have of life. But so much of who we are operates at an unconscious level, meaning we often don't observe it or even understand it. This is what happens when we have a strong negative emotional reaction to someone or something. We may not really understand why it happened, but we certainly experienced it. It felt real and uncomfortable. Unless we understand ourselves, we may not be able to control it, and it may impact the relationships we have with the people around us. When we start to pay attention to ourselves, to our thinking, our reactions, and our behaviours, when we become more awake, we can get ahead of those reactions, anticipating them. Recognising what leads to them, we can even change the biases that lead us to treat other people differently, shaping our views through becoming more aware of ourselves and the people around us. In a society that values inclusion and fair treatment, that's an important skill. Being awake is about being present and in touch with yourself and what's going on around you. It requires you to consistently reflect on your thinking and behaviour to understand how you can improve and adapt. When you're awake, you understand the impact of your ego, your strengths and weaknesses on your environment, and you know what brings out the best in you. You stay connected to others because you pay attention to them, and you recognise the importance of being fully present when interacting with the people around you. If you want to get promoted to a more senior position at work, or if you want to be an effective leader, being awake is central to your success. I mean, there are plenty of leaders who've been promoted based on their professional competency, but our own personal experience tell us that the best leaders pay attention to what's going on around them, at least to some extent. They also tend to be more aware of the impact that they have on other people. They have the ability to understand themselves in relation to others. That's called emotional intelligence. The identity we assume as a person influences our decision-making, thinking, and behaviour. So connecting with that identity and really understanding it means you're more likely to understand what's driving you and also what's limiting you. That's when you have more control. You can make decisions about whether that thinking and behaviour is getting you, and often others, to where you want to be. But to get to this state, we must deepen our self-awareness through becoming more conscious, through paying attention and becoming more intentional. When we do this, we can take better care of our own needs and better care of other people's needs too. And when I say other people's needs, I don't mean that becoming more awake allows us to make a better curry for our friends, meeting their need for good quality food. I mean that when we understand ourselves as humans, our compassion can grow, we can become more grateful, we can grow in respect for ourselves. We see our true potential and the potential of others. It also breaks down barriers. These are just a few of the many consequences to growing our awareness. The more senior we become, the less we tend to inquire into ourselves and others. This means our level of consciousness can suffer. We can become a bit more fixed in our thinking, which can make us more difficult to work with and even make us less effective. And when we're conscious of our needs and our behaviours, we grow, and through being conscious of others and what they need, we enable them. In fact, research has proven that the more emotionally intelligent we are, the better our mental health and the better our performance. Although many people would consider themselves self-aware and in control of their own minds and their performance, that's often not the case. This isn't just because we don't know ourselves very well and are oblivious to our thinking patterns and behavioural traits. It's because much of what happens inside our minds remains hidden at an unconscious level, driven by a set of beliefs and values that have been created there. The unconscious mind automatically reacts to situations using stored data and behavioural responses without the knowledge or control of the conscious mind. Scientists have shown that most decisions, actions, emotions and behaviour depend on the 95% of brain activity that is actually beyond our conscious awareness. So our life reflects our unconscious programming. And so we repeat patterns, we see what we want to see and repeat the same thinking today as we used yesterday. Some of this is very helpful to us, some of it isn't, and it limits us. Yet unless we understand it, how can we know what's really going on? By getting to know ourselves and through becoming more conscious, we can take control of our lives and how effective and satisfied we feel. By learning more about ourselves, we learn about others too. When we're awake, we can build humility. We can manage our emotional reactions. We can listen more. We can tackle the challenges we face. We can even make a bigger difference in society. Simply put, being awake to ourselves and the people around us can help us to be a better version of ourselves.